verbal. It can be ajapa japam here going on. Even thinking in Kali Yuga, smarane karana payam. Only thinking will liberate you. Just do smaranam. Swami said, no need for Vishnu. Cancel. Just smaranam. Just keep thinking about God. What I meant was Vishnu means don't limit it to a particular form. Just think of God. Any and every form of God all the time. That is the essence. And when? Everywhere. All the time. The problem is for us, what Swami used to say, when everything goes all right, you come and sit in the first row. I have to express my gratitude to Swami. When everything goes wrong, either we'll say Swami has stopped listening to me, or we'll say Swami is not divine. I think he was, but he is not because he is not listening to my prayers. Or we said I have to go somewhere else now because my connection with this Guru is getting lost. Vishnu Smaranam or Smarana means in all circumstances, whether your father is throwing you from top of the mountain down, or he is placing you in the lap of fire, or you are going to be trampled under the feet of elephants. The example of Prahlada is an outstanding example of Vishnu Swami. And Swami had told us in Akhand Bhajan in 2007. Swami said at the end of the bhajan, Swami gave a discourse in the bhajan hall. All of a sudden, he said, all of you are very happy that you have done Akhanda Bhajan. Swami said, but this is not Akhanda Bhajan. What you have done is Khanda Bhajan. Broken Bhajan. Why? Because it is broken. Only 24 hours. Akhanda means unbroken. Non-stop. Swami said, what is that non-stop bhajan? That non-stop bhajan starts from the womb and goes on till the tomb. That starts from the cradle and goes on to the grave. That bhajan is going on inside you every single breath. 21,600 times a day. Soham, Soham, Soham. How many of you are paying attention to this? Swami asked. The slightest noise outside while doing meditation, even the leaves are moving, we'll go out and see what happened over some storm came easily. 21,600 times a day that Akhanda Bhajan is going on inside you to tell you that you are God, you are God, you are God, you are God. But no, I don't want to accept that I am God. Why? Because the moment I accept I am God, what will happen? I have to live like God lived. Discipline myself, follow the rules, be loving towards everyone, accomplish noble tasks for others, not for myself. I don't want to do that. So I don't want to accept that I am God. What I will do? He is God, I am his devotee, he is great, I have a lot of mistakes. To err is human, to forgive divine. Keep parroting these sentences and forgiving ourselves on our own again and again. Swami used to say, to err is not human. Who said? These Westerners have spoiled the English language by these excuses. To err is not human. You are not human, you are divine. And divinity is always perfect. That is the ideal with which Sanatana Dharma has always wanted to place before mankind. So that is the kind of Vishnu Smaranam we need to do all the time. The fourth, Pada Sevanam. And the most outstanding example is of Lakshmi Devi. Swami always used to say, Mahalakshmi is an example of Pada Sevanam. Why? Because we always see, oh, Mahalakshmi, divine consort, on Sheshatalpa, in the Kshira Sagara, she is sitting with the Lord and pressing his feet. What luxury! Yes. Again, a lot of symbolism. Swami has said, what is Sheshatalpa, what is Kshira Sagara? I don't want to go into the symbolisms now, but presuming that whatever symbolism you are having in your mind, and she is with him in all that luxury, have we also analyzed that whenever that Mahavishnu Tattva came down in the human form, the same Lakshmi Devi came down as his consort and suffered and suffered and suffered, but never ever once wished that I do not want to come down as your consort. Because her total love and surrender to the lotus feet of her master was her most important devotion. Even in the Ramayana at the end, when Sita is exiting from the earth, what does she tell Rama? The Ramanand Sagar serial you would have seen. She prays to Rama at the end. And what does she say? If I have another birth, because they have taken human form so they behave, but what is the message? If I have another birth, I for womankind in another birth. You see the message? She will never wish that she will be away from the Master. How many times have we wished that we are away from the Master when we are put through tests? How many times have we wished that we should not be tested at all? These are the introspective points for each one of us. We don't want to be tested. Before the examination, Swami used to come to the portico and said, all boys will have long faces. Why exam is coming? Said, what happened? Why are you having castor oil face? Swami will say, castor oil face. Because after we have castor oil, how do we have, what is it? Like a castor oil face. So boys will say, Swami, examination. Oh, Antena, only that much. Arey, you should be happy. Happy for writing exams? Yes. Only when you write exam will you move to the next class. Only when you write 5th standard exam you will go to 6th. When you pass SSC only you will go to higher secondary school. When you pass HSC, when you pass your college only you will go to university. Examination is for your own good. So be happy to give examination. And in those times when we are successful or in failure, we have to still have the same kind of faith like Lakshmi Devi had for the Master. One Swami told in Trai Vrindavan, the video is there on YouTube also. Swami said, whenever some boys do very well in exams, their love for Swami increases. Their devotion increases, they write letters to me every day, they draw huge hearts in that, expressing their love for me. And when they don't do well in exam, they are angry with Swami. Then Swami said, you are not devoted to Swami so that you can pass exams. Your devotion to Swami is irrespective of whatever happens to you. Because that is the ultimate objective for which I have brought you here. The whole equation that we have about divinity and our relationship with the Guru is so transactional. I give this, I get that. I give 5 rupees prasad, I'll get 10 rupees worth grace. Swami said, is this a share market? I'll invest 20 rupees share, I will get 5 rupees dividend every year. After 5 years, the share value will increase, that will become 40 rupees. Swami said, this is not a share market investment. With God, it is a partnership. You have to be 100% committed. Only then you will have the best results. Second part, leave everything to me. That comes in another thing. Let me cover that part here, which is Sakhyam, the example of Arjuna. Leave everything to me. Don't worry whether you will be successful or not. In the 3 sentences which I started the letter with, the 3 points in Telugu, the 4th point, I do not know the Telugu verse, but Swami said, I have a unique definition of devotion. Those who are devoted to me, in good and bad, failure and success, happiness and sorrow, will be unanimous and will be committed to my message and mission. So that's what Krishna told Arjuna. You leave everything to me, I will take care of it. And that's what Arjuna did. Karishye vachanam tava. You may have lots of problems, so you will go to God for counseling. Vishada Yoga. Vishada Yoga is counseling. He's pouring out all his problems. First chapter of Bhagavad Gita is all psychological counseling. I have this problem, I have that problem, how can I kill my guru, how can I kill this, how can I do that? That's what we used to do in the interview. Swami, this problem, that problem, marriage, children, promotion, passing exams, Vishada Yoga. After all that is over, then Swami expects Karishye vachanam tava. Whatever you say, I will do. Even if it means that Krishna does not take up any weapon and the Narayani Sena is on the side of Kauravas, you will always want Krishna. Because God is far more powerful than His creation. Swami had materialized, many times this has happened in Trai Vrindavan, Swami had materialized something. He will take that materialization and go all over the room and show everybody. Once he took a materialization, some jewel from the history, and went around showing everybody. In the middle, all the while he was saying, everybody was looking, was seeing that materialization and doing like this to it. And Swami was going on saying, I am here only, I am here only, I am here only. Everybody was wondering, why is Swami saying that, but he was so enamored with that jewel that Swami's words are inconsequential. After the whole thing, Swami said, so the Swami came back and he showed that. And he said, and then he dematerialized it. He said, After the dematerialization, he said, I am here only. These things, the Prakriti, the creation, what I have created, will come and go. I am here only. God is permanent. There is neither coming nor going. World is coming and going. Jagat, 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 that which comes and goes is the world. That which comes and stays is God. Same thing Swami used to say when he used to give photographs. Swami used to stand and boys used to come one by one, Brother Gurumurthy will remember. Boys will come and go, Swami will be there, every boy will get one photograph with Swami in Kodaikanal early years in Vrindavan. Then in the middle of the photographing, Swami once said, see, boys will come and go, I am constant. See, each experience, each sentence has so much of meaning. So I will conclude with the remaining. So Padasevanam we completed, even Sakhyam we completed. Archana. What is Archana? In Tirupati and all, there is so much of Mahima for Archana. We have to book tickets for that in advance. You want to do Archana. But that is because we have made Archana such a complicated commercial process. No harm you can do with the feelings. But what is true Archana? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has said, and Swami had mentioned that, Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam. These are the 4 things we give God. In a plate also we take what? Some leaves, some flowers, some fruits, and water. No, you made those leaves? No. You plucked it from the tree. You made those fruits? No. You bought it from the vendor. You grew those flowers? No. The gardener sold it and you purchased. Water, you can't create. Swami always used to say, H2 plus O2 is 2, H2O is only in the chemical lab. But can you take hydrogen, oxygen and combine and create these oceans? No. So all these 4 things that you are offering to God has come from God Himself. Then what credit are you taking to offer that Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam to God? You have to offer that which is yours. What is yours? Patram. Yours in a temporary sense. In permanent sense, nothing is yours. Patram means body. Offer your body to God. How? In good times and bad, be constantly engaged in His work. Whatever work you do, consider it God's work. Constantly engaged in work does not mean you give up your job, you say bye-bye to family and say I am doing Sai Seva. Not like that. Your Seva to family is also Sai Seva. But with the feeling that you are doing it for Swami, not for wife and children and parents. Your service in the company is also Sai Seva, but giving the best to the company with no desire of results, but as an offering to Swami. Swami used to tell the second batch of boys, Brother Venkatesh Iyer always used to share that when the second batch of MBA students were leaving Prashanti Nilayam and going, in the interview room Swami said, don't worry about promotion. Your boss is not going to give you promotion. Your promotions will be decided at Prashanti Nilayam, Swami said. Because Swami is the one who is receiving our devotion, our efforts. So he only decides our promotion, not in the office, the actual promotion. So Patram is that. Pushpam, your heart. Your heart you offer to God. Unfortunately what we do, we offer heart to everybody else. When the heart is of no use, we offer it to God. When nobody wants our heart, we offer it to God. So first heart to parents, then heart to friends, then heart to other gender, then heart to children, then heart to boss. After nobody is around in retirement and heart is of no value, Tameva Sharanam Mama. I have no other refuge. Why? Because nobody else wants you, so you have no other refuge, you have come here. When everybody wants you and you want him, that is the time Tameva Sharanam Mama is of value. If everybody has rejected you and you say, yes, my heart is for my God, my Guru, that is hypocrisy. So you have to offer your heart to God, not physical heart. The feelings, the pure feelings. Then fruit, phalam, manophalam, the mind, the fruit of the mind, which is the fruit of your action, has to be offered to God. Which means all actions that you do should be so pious and holy that the fruit thereof can be offered to God. We do all kinds of actions. Then we go to Mandir, we go to Tirupati, shave our head. We think by this barber's business we will be absolved of all our sins. It's like saying I do some good, I do some bad, it gets set off, like accounts we are taught. Debit, credit, both sides equalize. Swami said no, you cannot sow seeds of cactus and seeds of mango and presume that the earth will negate each against the other. Cactus also will grow, mango also will grow. You will have to face the cactus's thorns and benefit from the sweetness of mango. If you want only mango to grow, don't sow cactus seeds. You see, the essence of the message is so extraordinary. This has to be reminisced and reflected every single day. The fourth one is Toranam, Toyam, water. Which water? Not the tap water. The joy of love for God. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa had said, Vivekananda asked him, how do I achieve God realization? He said, in 3 days you can get God realization. How? If you have the love which a newborn child has for the mother, the love that a miser has for wealth, and the love a newly married couple has for each other. If these 3 kinds of intense love are directed towards God, in 3 days you will get self-realization. Have we analyzed what depth of spiritual knowledge that Swami and all these masters have placed before us? So this is the archanam that we have to do. And the example Swami used to give is that of Prithu, the one who was the founder of Prithvi. He gave only the best to the Prithvi as a king, and that's why this Prithvi has become so beautiful. There is so much of symbolism in that as well. The next one is Vandanam. Vandanam is prostrating. You do Ashtanga, Panchanga, all kinds of namaskaras. That is symbolic again. What is the meaning of that? The meaning of that is not my will, your will. Every time we do Vandanam, we say Namaha. What is the meaning of Namaha? Namaha. Not me, but you. Govindaya Namaha. Narayanaya Namaha. Not me, but you. This is for you. You are the doer. Offering to you, offering to you. You are continuously negating your identity in the process of doing Vandanam. And what is the objective of that? The objective is to accept whatever happens as good for you. This is what one story Swami had narrated in Trivrindavan. He said there was a tribal chief king. There was a king and his minister, and that minister always used to give gyan to the king. Sir, whatever happens is good for you. Once he went for hunting, both minister and king, and that king's finger got cut in the process of hunting. The minister said, so king, this is good for you. Whatever happens is good for you. So the king said, how dare you? My finger is injured and you are saying it's good for me? Put him in the prison. So the minister is in the prison. Next week again the king goes for hunting. This time some other minister goes. The process of hunting, minister and king get separated. The king lands up in a tribal community, and those people catch him and say, we will offer you to the Devi. Tribal offering. King has tribal offering to the Devi. Devi will be absolutely happy. So we are similar to them. Even today they want to offer human beings, they want to offer flower fruits and think Devi will be happy. So let's not think that tribals are any lesser off. We are all partially tribals in our approach. So he said offering the king to the Devi will give superlative benefits. Then they started bathing the king and decorating him and all. All of a sudden they realized that the finger is damaged. You cannot offer a damaged offering to the Devi. So he said, okay, you go, we can't offer you. So the king went back, ran back, went straight to the jail to that minister and said, I am very sorry. What you have said is true. Whatever happened was good for me. I am very sorry that I put you in jail. The minister said, no, this is good for me. So the king said, how can being in jail be good for you? He said, of course, king, if I would have been not in the jail, I would have been with you. If I would have been with you, I would have also landed up in the same tribal community. Seeing you as a damaged offering, they would have taken me and offered it to the Devi. Instead of that, it is better I was in jail, I was saved. So, whatever happens is good for you. Swami had said in one discourse, whether you chant any other mantra or not, constantly chant this one mantra. Whatever happens is good for me. Whatever happens is good for me. Whatever happens is good for me. Because whatever is happening is good for me. Because at a Dvaitic level, God has willed it for your own good. At an Advaitic level, you yourself have willed it for yourself, for your own spiritual evolution. I don't want to get into that because some others may collapse here, thinking that what am I talking, how can you will good or bad things for your own self. Let's keep it for another day. But let us say that whatever is good for you has been willed by God for you. So that is the highest aspect of Vandanam. Then Dasyam. Dasyam, the most outstanding example of that is Hanuman. His identity, Dasoham Kausalendrasya. Wherever he used to go, who are you? मैं श्री राम का दूत हूँ. He never said I am so and so son, I have these many degrees, I am extremely intelligent. No. What is my identity? I am the servant of Rama. When he went to Ravana also, who are you? I am the servant of Rama. When Ravana started acting smart, he said, I am servant of Rama, but if you act smart, I will finish you off. But I won't do it because I want that credit to go to my master. You see how much of nuance is there in this. He is telling Ravana, I alone have the capacity to finish you and the entire Lanka. But I won't do it because I want the credit of that to go to my master, because you have done injustice and adharma to my master. So he is befittingly deserving to give you the punishment. Swami used to say, people come to Prapatti, say we are Sai devotees. They put vibhuti nicely here in the center, come and sit in the mandir. They come to Samiti, put vibhuti nicely. If they have to go to a party after that, or go to office after that, or from mandir if they have to go, they'll go out and then remove that vibhuti like that. Or someone asks us, what is this? You are just 35, 40 years, you're putting vibhuti, what's wrong with you? Swami said, this is not dasyam. Dasyam is your continuous identity is that you are the servant of the master. Vibhuti reminds me of a very nice story. I always narrate it because it's so meaningful. In one of the, I'll conclude in 2 minutes. I was serving in one of the Vrindavan stores during holidays. Students have the opportunity to serve in the Vrindavan stores as service when we want to stay with Swami, we are serving there. So one lady came and she told me, Beta, I want 2 packets of vibhuti. So I said, Auntie, 2 into 2, 4 rupees. So I gave her 2 packets of vibhuti, you know those yellow colored packets. And she was looking here and there, and I said, I thought she's looking for the price. I said, Auntie, it's 2 rupees, it's not printed. She said, no, I'm not looking for price. I said, what are you looking for? She said, I'm looking for the expiry date of this vibhuti. So then I said, Auntie, this vibhuti has no expiry date. This vibhuti is symbolic of our expiry date. The vibhuti is symbolic of the final state of all existence. We are all going to become that one day. Fine ash. Hopefully, those who perform our last rites will at least take it and put it in the Ganges. Otherwise, today we take symbolic ash in a small vessel and leave the rest of it in the smashanam, and that is thrown in the kachra. We don't have the patience to wait for all the ashes of our earlier generations or our relatives also. So wherever I go, at least I request them, please wait, take all the ash, let it go into the, you spend so much of time and money for curing the person in the hospital, at least ensure that the ashes reach the final destination. So that is the final stage of all our ash. Now why do we apply it? We apply it so that we remind ourselves and all those who see us every day that this is what I am going to become one day. Then why not I live my entire life in the dharmic way, so that when I become this ash, there is no regret left about the life well lived. That is the message of the vibhuti. That's why the final state of existence, Shiva is supposed to have applied vibhuti on all his body. Bhasma Vibhushita Bhavani Shankara. He is sitting in the smashanam and doing his penance, because that is the final stage. We are just taking a pinch of that and putting here so that we remind ourselves. That is the essence of darshan. We have to be told, our identity has to be in the message of the Guru, and that does not mean you go around. I have seen many people going around giving Swami's photographs to devotees, non-devotees, everybody. We are members of the Satya Sai organization. We are doing this. Would you like to contribute, etc., etc. No need. You are a moving poster for the master. Your life, your words, your deeds will communicate to the outside world what the message of this master is. You don't need to mention one single word about Swami to anybody unless they ask you. Swami always used to say, who are you to advertise me? Who are you to talk about me? What do you know about me that you are going around talking about me and my glory? So let your life be his message. That is the greatest promotion and advertisement we need to do about Swami. And I have had so many times when I have not said, and those who don't know, when I joined Swami's University when I was in HR college, one fine day one teacher came and told me, I have been observing you since many years. Now I know why you are the way you are, because I recently came to know you are a Sai devotee. See, that is the highest tribute that we can pay to Swami, that even without mentioning his name, people will acknowledge, and that is the best offering that we can make to Swami, because our life has become his message. And if people ask you, unhesitatingly, we should be able to share the message. Our communication of Swami is what is the type of, oh, he materializes Vibhuti. Oh, he is a Ligodbhavam. Oh, he has established a hospital. I mean, is this the way we describe the Guru? Is this the way we describe someone whom we consider as the avatar? Our communication of Swami should be of the highest message that Swami has given. He embodies the best of the spiritual traditions of this land and has given a message which is capable of uniting the whole world into one mankind. This I am not saying. This the CIA said in the Bill Clinton era when they had prepared a document, a dossier on Swami and his activities as part of their secret services. They had concluded in that, and it's there on the internet. Nimish Pandya, All India President, also spoke about it. 20 years later, they declassified documents, so this came out. In that it is written everything about Swami. Then at the end it is saying that the Satya Sai Baba movement has the capability of becoming another world religion, because it is all encompassing in its nature and capable of bringing all mankind into one human race. If the American Secret Service people can understand this, why we are not able to understand this identity of Swami and are explaining to people that Swami's identity is connected with rings and chains and devotee materialization? It's a disservice to Swami to link him to his miracles alone. The final part is Atma Nivedanam. Bali is the example of that. Once you decide to give yourself to the Guru, to the master, to the cause of the spiritual principle, whatever happens, you should not step back. Bali is an ideal example of that. He did not know that Vamana is that Vamana. Vamana actually means a short person. He did not know that Vamana is the Vamana avatar. When Shukracharya went and told him that this is Vishnu, come to block your journey to Indrahood because you have done 99 yajnas, Vishnuji Yaga, you are doing the last one. So he said, don't give him anything that he is saying. Bali said, nothing doing. I have given him my word. I have given my commitment to a noble cause. Whatever happens, I will live up to it. If that means I will give up my life also for it, I will do it. And that's what he does. When he goes ahead to give the 3 blocks of land, the symbolism of Mahavishnu taking his Vishwavirata Sarupa is to communicate to us that in only 3 feet, in 2 feet he is capable of covering the entire creation. So what does he want as the 3rd feet? The individual devotee's ego. That is the greatest blockage in this spiritual journey. And when Bali says, I offer myself to you, he puts his head on his feet, his foot on his head and sends him to the Netherlands for ruling the Netherlands. That's how Onam is celebrated. In Prashanti Nilayam, there is a a joke associated with this. So when someone's ego is subdued, it is called Onamization. Because Mahabali was sent to the Netherlands when he agreed to give up his ego. So that is Atma-nivedanam. Why is this the final step? The final step is Atma-nivedanam because at that step we realize that our individual identity does not exist. And this Swami has said in two clear scriptural injunctions. The first is in the Narayana Suttam. Neelato Viramatyastha Vidullekeva Bhasvara Nivara Shukavattandi Tita Vasatranupama Tasya Shikaya Madhye Paramatma Vivasita. Between the 9th and 12th vertebral column, there is a blue shining light in each and every individual. Tasya Shikaya Madhye Paramatma Vivasita. Therein lies the Paramatma Tattva. The next line is Sashiva, Sabrahma, Sari, Sendra, Soksha. That is only Shiva, that is only Brahma, that is only Hari, that is everything. Now we don't need to open our vertical column and see if there is a blue light shining there, or switch off all the lights of the room and take a torch and see, you can see some blue light. This is the principle. Why blue light? Because blue symbolizes infinity. That's why the sky is blue. The sky is not blue. The color of infinity is blue. That's why Krishna is blue, Rama is blue, Shiva is blue. They are not colored blue. Have you ever seen a blue colored individual? The blue color of Rama, Krishna and Shiva symbolizes infinity. That which is infinite is blue in color. So that blue light is in each one of us. And the second part is in Bhagavad Gita. Mama Yamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So Krishna tells Arjuna, it is a part of my eternal being which is present in every individual. So it is a part of Krishna present in every individual, and that part of Krishna is present in each one of us as the blue light. So what are we then? And how are each one of us different? The only difference among each one of us is I am wearing a safari, this brother is wearing a kurta, that sister is wearing a sari, that auntie is wearing a Punjabi. That is the only difference. Similarly, someone is a Gujarati, someone is a Punjabi, someone is a Chinese, someone is an African. Similarly, someone is from India, someone is from America, someone is from Atlanta, Alaska. But the inherent principle is the same. That principle has come from God. That is the Atma-nivedanam Tera Tujko Arpan. It is you only eat. Another example, when someone dies, what do we say? So and so has passed away. Mr. Murthy passed away. Okay? But his body has been kept for final darshan. Mr. Murthy passed away, body is kept for final darshan. Which means Mr. Murthy is not the body. Mr. Murthy used to reside in the body. He has passed away. The body has been kept for final darshan and then the body will be cremated. Do we say Mr. Murthy will be cremated? Body will be. Deha sanskar. We won't say Atma sanskar. Antim sanskar is not of the Atma, it's of Deha. Why? Because Mr. Murthy is residing in the body. When his job is over, that blue light has moved. And the body which was given for a purpose is given back to the 5 elements. Hence to the fire, which goes to the ground, from there to the water, and then to the wind and the ether. What came from the Panchabhutas goes back into the Panchabhutas. But Mr. Murthy doesn't go back to the Panchabhutas. Because Mr. Murthy had not come from the Panchabhutas. Mr. Murthy is Krishna's form. Mr. Gurumurthy is Krishna's form. Mr. Shah is Krishna's form. Everybody is Krishna's form. There is no distinction at all. That's why Swami used to say, when I see all of you in the Kulwant hall, I am so happy because I see myself in all of you. I and you are one. What is the meaning? Not in the body, in the soul. So this is the highest Atma-nivedanam which we have to work towards in this journey of Guru Purnima. I will conclude with this bhajan which Swami always used to. This is Swami's first bhajan. And I don't know whether we sang that today. If not, we should conclude with this. But I will give the message of what that bhajan is. And I think going forward, we should abide by that message. That bhajan is Manasa Bhajane Guru Charana Dustar Gavasagar Taranam. Have we sung that today? No. So maybe we should sing. But let me tell you the message. Swami used to say, yes, Manas Bhajare Guru Charanam Dustar Bhavasagar Karanam. What is the message of that? The message is in the reverse. First, understand that you are in a sagara. First, understand that you are in the samsara sagara. Sanyoga, Viyoga, Sankarshatmaka, Mahtaraka, Tarangamaya Sagaram. That is how Swami used to describe what samsara is. First, realize that you are in the sagara. Then decide that you want to do taranam. You want to swim out of this because you are fed up of all these dualities and the problems that you are facing every day. Then that ardent desire of taranam will bring Guru into your life. Having earned that Guru, then say Manasa Bhajare. Let your mind always dwell on the feet of the Guru and not the physical feet or even the padukas if we have one. The feet of the Guru is the path of the Guru. The path that the Guru has shown in his life. The path that the avatars of all times, the prophets of all times have shown is the path which we have to do bhajanam, mananam, contemplation, introspection. That is the essence of the bhajan. This is the fourfold part of our spiritual journey also. First, realize that we are in a samsara sagara. Second, decide by conviction that you want to cross it. Third, earn the grace that the Guru arrives in your life. In our case, it has happened. And fourth, always contemplate on this message. I guess with this I will conclude my talk on this Guru Purnima day with a prayer that Swami's grace enables us to move ahead on this path, to identify that we are not different from him, to abide in the message that he has given all of us, and make our human life more meaningful, fruitful and beneficial. Atmano mokshartham jagatitaya. For our own spiritual emancipation, for the well-being of mankind. Let these two be the core of our mission statement of life. Jai Sadha. मानस भज